So we have two problems in society right now, and we have Rachel Kaberon here to discuss this, where we need to create new markets, right? We're automating away with AI and other automations away from certain labor or other resources being needed in markets. And at the same time, and that causes people to lose jobs. And at the same time, we have a learning rate problem. Do you feel as though there's another dimension here, Rachel, that's just really important that we mentioned?
Learning is not a control kind of mechanism because of all the different way, all the different things that come together when we learn. I should send you a chat GPT thread that I created, that I saved. Actually, it was with Perplexity. I think you'll find it really interesting because I was actually asking it this question to compare. For me, education goes back centuries, thousands of years. Okay, the progression of knowledge. Okay, schools were, like, you had to teach people how to read and write, or how to do numbers. There's some things that people were managing to do by themselves. Like, they were able to figure out how the counting systems were things that came kind of naturally for them. Using symbols to represent things came pretty naturally for them. Converting that to language that was written and then being able to read it was something you had to teach people.
Got it. Got it. And then what a friend of mine who has studied a lot, his name is Herbert Thomas. He's one of the guys who invented the gaming system that we use to work with people on how to get their mindset right, how to become more productive after that, and how to work with people better. Essentially, that progression with most people. He told me that the church system is what really became a big inspiration for the way that we teach in a everybody facing one direction, kind of reminiscent of the pews system that we have in churches.
It was a mass way to learn. In the Jewish world, paired learning is how they study. They do everything in pairs because it's like, okay, you read it and then you tell me what you think, and then, no, I'm going to argue with you, and then I'm going to tell you what I think, and then we go back and forth on it to figure it out.
Okay, so how do you feel as though the education system needs to change for us to be able to onboard people to a post AI labor pool?
That's the multi-million-dollar, billion-dollar question. Okay, and that's part of why I've been working in the play kind of arena, exploring how play helps you, because there's a lot of assumptions that we need to kind of relax in order to go and use people differently and also think about people differently. And everything that people have done is kind of in that very, for lack of a better word, agile world of simple adaptation, right? So it's like, oh, look, I now have a can opener. So I don't have to, like, I can open the can using this tool. Is AI a tool? Well, what happens when AI becomes an agent in its own right? The woman that I spent a lot of time talking to the other day, it's really about agency, and education is about enabling agency. And the problem is, lots of people don't like giving everybody agency. That's a very democratic idea. Think about that. It almost sounds anarchic.
Agency, and why is that beneficial?
All right, so here's what's interesting about this. Okay, the little bit, and I'm really got a tiny little toe into this water. Agency means, there's autonomy, right? Daniel Pink writes about this. He talks about mastery, autonomy, and purpose, right? People make an effort, right? They want to see how it works. They want to see what the fruition of what they're doing. Okay, it's part of why they engage in the world. It's part of what motivates them. So if you give people responsibility, okay, without giving them the support to be able to accomplish the task, right, you got a problem. There are lots of people who are tinkerers, and as they tinker, they're trying to test their capabilities. They're trying to grow. They're trying to see what happens, right? And so they're in experimental mode. Experimental mode and agency are related, but they're not necessarily conducive to organizational effectiveness, efficiency, or productivity. Because again, it comes right back to that nature of learning for humans happens at a different time scale for everyone. And if you need things to be on a time clock or on some kind of coordination level, you need to create some rules and structure to make it clear that in this domain, you can have some agency, you can have some autonomy, but you can't have 100% autonomy, because otherwise we won't be able to work together. Which is why people, so as the person in, trying to control the environment as it's growing and seeing how it's expanding, right? How you enlist help and how you actually support people to be able to do it comes with also creating boundaries for them.
But even if we look at what was that one about Christmas where it's a beautiful world? It's an older movie.
A white
It's
Christmas?
Well, it was about a man who didn't feel valuable in life and he was going to go kill himself. And it was
That's Jimmy Stewart. It's a Wonderful Life.
It's a Wonderful Life. So I think that's this with the self-driving car. Your life is like the car in a way. Your interaction with the world, hand on the wheel, and you have to take control sometimes. But beyond that, it is really hard to trust. And so trust seems to be the nexus here across the board. And then it's wrapped or it's protected by discernment.
That's exactly the point. Because the hand on the wheel isn't so much because you don't trust the car. It's more that you recognize that the environment is things that the car can't completely understand, that you can be quicker than the car in understanding the situation. That's an ego thing. But in the self-driving car world, there's a reason that the world has not let cars be self-driving, because unless everybody's self-driving, it won't work, because the rules for people as they drive don't match the rules that cars are used and have been instructed to find and follow. The patterns that they're following, they don't know all the patterns because people are erratic. And this is the thing that you should be asking yourself, because even within that metaphor, what I hear is the fact that the reason you want to keep the hand on the wheel is because the trust that you don't have is on the car, not that because you don't trust, that society itself, first of all, society doesn't have a lot of rules, right? And right now we're living in a time when a lot of the traditional rules have been pointedly upended, and for we don't understand, right? But when you know that when you're like you bring your children someplace and you see someone who is behaving very erratically, for whatever reason they're behaving erratically, okay, your instinct is to protect your child, shield them from that erratic behavior. The same thing's true of why I would put my hand on the wheel of that self-driving car. It's not because I don't trust the car and its ability to self-drive. It's more that I know that the erraticness of the environment is outpacing what the decisions the known patterns that the car knows, that I have more wisdom, that I can bring something else to the picture that the car will never know, won't see. Just like it can see my blind spots, I can see a wider blind spot. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, you have a certain size of perspective, and it has a certain size of perspective, and they're complementary.
Right. So that's the boundedness of those individuals. So helping them understand that the reason, like it's the why you tell them, I don't want you to do that. I want you to, I want to collaborate. I want to think about it with you. Right. Is to say, listen, I don't know if you've had the experience of getting burned, but I've gotten burned too many times. So that's one of the reasons that I want to be a little more cautious as we go forward. The cautiousness is because I want to protect all of us. Because right now, the people who get burned first are me, not you. Right? When you're sheltering that child from that erratic behavior, you know you're going to take the brunt first on purpose because you're protecting his child.